Ohio Cannabis Report family? It's boy Gerald Moore Jr. checking in. I'm on vacation right now. We in Florida, as you can see. The sun is shining. It's about 80 plus degrees. I'm loving it. Getting relaxed, recharged. I did see that there was a hearing scheduled, so I'm not that up to date on what's been going on. But there are a few channels. There's the Ohio Cannabis Coalition, Cannabis Consumer Coalition, which has a Facebook group page, I believe, and a Instagram group, and they share a lot of information about what's going on at the state level. But I just wanted to tap in from Florida. Obviously, Florida very similar to Ohio. A lot of snowbirds come from Ohio to Florida. And so obviously Florida's cannabis situation, they have medical. I've seen a couple of the dispensaries. They have Rise and Curaleaf, and I think I've seen Trualeaf. So I believe that's the like what they have. But I mean, the problem with that I'm noticing is that in many of these states, people are working, but they're not actively involved in their state political landscape, right? They may be Republican, Democrat, Independent, may not vote, may not be involved, whatever. But what I'm seeing, the reason why we're not seeing cannabis legislation be more in line with the people, the reason we're not seeing regulatory things, the reason we're not seeing these billionaires being held accountable, because it's all state level politics. And a lot of people aren't paying attention at the state level, unless they're business owners, lawyers, lobbyists and things of that nature. So people have to get more involved at the state level and understanding that all of us are in different positions, right? Like you have some people that were born into money, they were born into wealth, they were born into opportunities, they were born into suburban communities, they were born into families that could provide nepotism and could provide all these different opportunities. Whether it's being able to go to college, being able to start a business, being able to work in the family business. And Ohio is one of those places where there's been a lot of wealth that was accumulated during, I would say, obviously, the huge manufacturing years, right? And then you see all of that shit get taken away. And now Ohio is trying to rebuild and be a rebuilder, but they're not investing in the actual people, right? They're investing in outside businesses, outside corporations to come in and hire people within the community or in the state, or they're bringing people from outside the state into the state to do the work. Instead of, hey, we've fucked our communities up, right? Like you fucked up your communities by allowing these corporations, one, to do what they did and just bounce how they bounced, leaving behind thousands and thousands of workers that don't have jobs now, are locked out of opportunities, cities, towns destroyed, water supply destroyed, the environment destroyed, the psychology destroyed. And so what I've seen just living in Ohio for the last, 15 years is just a constant battle of wills, right? A lot of Ohio people we just hardworking people. And that I love that about Ohio, but you have to learn how to work smarter and not harder. There's a certain point where, you're overworking yourself. You know what I mean? There's a certain point where you're working hard, but you're also working stupid. And that's what I see in Ohio a lot. I see a lot of people working hard, but also working stupid. They're not evolving, they're not learning, they're not growing, they're not challenging the status quo. A lot of people I run into in Ohio will say, this is how it's always been. Okay. So does that mean that it has to continue to be that way? Where does it say that in the rule book? This is the way it's always been, so we have to keep it this way. No. It's I like to talk about the Browns, or we talk about football, but you look at the Browns. The Cleveland Browns are one of the worst franchises in the NFL perpetually. But people will continuously go and sell out the stadium, continuously buy Browns gear, watch them, put hope into them. And I'm not saying they're never going to have an opportunity to win, but 30 years, my whole life existence, I wish my granddad would birth me into some shit like that. And then I would get of age and be like, well, my granddad is a Brown. I love you, granddad, but no. My granddad was an alcoholic too. So am I gonna, my granddad was an alcoholic, so I'm gonna be out? No. My granddad smoked that weed too, and had it been legal, he probably would have put the liquor down. Probably would have lived a little bit longer. But in Ohio, I know there's a lot of different issues. You know what I mean? You got the racial issues, you got the class issues, you have just the divide of city, town, rural, farmland. You got the divide between transplants and people that have been here their whole lives. So again, a lot of people don't like change. They don't want change. They don't, obviously gentrification typically hurts a lot of people, moves a lot of people out because they can't afford it anymore. And we're seeing that a lot in Ohio and a lot of different spaces, especially in the major cities like Columbus, where we're seeing a lot of growth, but it's also a widening of the gap because a lot of the people with the wealth, again, are coming from outside the city. Some good smoke. Getting high off my own supply. This is my first harvest, personal harvest under the home grow. I had some random seeds. I don't even know what they is. I had some seeds, some clones. I recently harvested my joint drying right now at the crib. But yeah, it's just a lot, man. And people at some point, you got to put your differences aside and understand like what's best for our children, right? Like I'm somebody that's grown up in a very diverse environment most of my life. I've been around a lot of different cultures, black, white, Mexican, Hispanic, people from different parts of Europe, different parts of Africa, different countries, what have you. And part of like, that has been part of like my greatest thing in life is that I get to meet different people. I've been able to travel. And like, obviously we're regressing in America, which is, it is what it is, right? I mean, a lot of people want it to be this way. A lot of people don't want other cultures, right? Because again, it challenges their status quo, right? If I'm doing better than you, more than you, I have more culture, like my life just seems a little bit funner, even though like you might have more money, more power. That rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And I see why, because white people is boring. Like, I'm not gonna even hold you. Like, I've been a part of, the PWIs. I went to Catholic school. That shit is boring as fuck. And then what happens? They end up recruiting some black kids to play basketball, play football. Colleges recruit black kids to play football, basketball. You get more diverse people from diverse backgrounds in academia. And they start to challenge the status quo of the bullshit that has been going on for the last 400 plus years by white people. Because most white people aren't challenging themselves, right? They're not. And that's why the system is allowed to continue to perpetuate itself. Like, you're not going to tell me people did the January 6th, the same people that did January 6th couldn't protest no kings. Like, come on, bro, it's all the same shit. Like, the GOP is operating in Ohio the exact same way that Donald Trump and the Republicans is acting, at the national level. And that shit is all a part of why we're struggling to get this passed, because you got people that want to be conservative but also want control. But I don't understand how they preach freedom, but then want to control everybody else's freedoms. Like, that's what's wild about America. Oh, we want to be like freedom, freedom, freedom. Till it impact your freedom.